of the Right Along with Vanessa morning show starts now. This week's episode is sponsored by Dollhouse of Tampa Salon and Studio. Find your inner doll. They offer quick weave, sew-ins, and much, much more to fit every occasion. Need a wig? Selena's got you. She will customize a unit just for you. Book your next appointment on Booksy today. Did someone say nails? Honey, forget the Bayhive. Contact Queen Bee herself. She offers customized designer nails and even designer press-ons that she will customize and ship to you. Braids, and even twists. Book with Tiffany right on Facebook. Find your inner doll at Dollhouse Tampa Salon and Studio. Tampa. The Stay in Love TV podcast is here. Enjoy topics that will inspire, encourage, and empower you. Why not listen together? Stay in Love TV, now on Spotify. This week's episode is sponsored by Hustle and Bling. It don't mean a thing if you ain't got that bling. Lovely paparazzi designer pieces for only $5. That's right, $5. And don't worry about it if the kid gets in the jewelry box. They're only $5. Make sure you catch Allison Mondays and Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays, live on Instagram and Facebook, promoting some of these wonderful fashion fixes that you'll enjoy. And if you miss it, check out the website. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that bling. Hustle and Bling. Stay in Love TV is your production to distribution solution to getting your message seen and heard. Having your own TV show with Stay in Love TV has never been easier than now. Stay in Love TV gives you the power to share your message with the world. Stop watching TV and start being watched on TV. Stay in Love TV offers real-time multicasting, all with one click. This opportunity puts you on the world stage with an audience of over 200 million. In addition to your low monthly subscription fees, you will also receive monthly network coaching and training from the network itself to ensure that before your first show premieres, you are set up for success. We at Stay in Love TV bring over 20 years experience in sales, marketing, advertising, and business development. Stay in Love TV, purposeful entertainment driven by love, empowered with passion, fueled with faith. Go to www.stayinlovetv.com and let's get started. Hello everyone. I am Vanessa Klinger, your intuitive life strategist and life coach motivator. Welcome to the Right Along with Vanessa morning show, where we provide you 100% free coaching at your service. Raw, real enlightenment at its best. So come on in and enjoy the ride as we take you higher into the dimensions of God. It's a brand new season. We're in a brand new city. And guess what? Everything is going your way. You guys ready? Let's go! How are you? I am Vanessa Klinger, your intuitive life strategist and life coach motivator. Welcome to the Right Along with Vanessa morning show, where we provide you 100% free coaching at your service, raw, real enlightenment at its best. So come on in and enjoy the ride as we take you higher into the dimensions of God. How are you guys doing on this fun, fantastic, funky Friday? I'm telling you, it is becoming a day. It's becoming a day. But I made it. We started a little late, had some technical issues. It is what it is. Yeah, but we made it. Thank goodness that I had an older alternative. But yeah, so welcome to the Right Along with Vanessa morning show. I'm Vanessa Klinger, your intuitive life strategist
and life coach motivator. Welcome, 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 everyone. Uh, it's a beautiful day here in Gulfport Beach, Mississippi, and I'm glad about it. Yeah. Hope you guys had an amazing week. Hope you had a wonderful week, an inspiring week, a liberating week, a week with all that jazz. I hope you guys did. And, it's so much going on. And it's, in all honesty, it's a distraction. It really is. It's just a distraction to get your focus off of what's most important. And that is getting your vibration into a space where you totally trust God, you totally believe God, and you totally are not moved by any of the situations and circumstances that are happening all around you. There's so much happening. And I'm not making light of it because it does impact lives and humans and stuff like that. But when you get right and you get right down to it, and you begin to realize, well, hopefully you begin to realize that, if we really believe that we are all in God's hands, then why would you be concerned about someone else's whatever? And what I mean by that is concerned by someone's livelihood when it's beyond your control. So instead of feeding your energy into that, because that is a ploy by the system that we're in, you choose to remain faithful in God, in knowing that God has it all under control. It's those things that are beyond your control, those things that are outside the scope of your ability to do anything with assisting, right? It's just my take on that. But yeah, so a lot going on, a lot of changes. Change is good. It really is. It really is. It's good if you allow yourself to go with the flow and trust the process and trust the plan, right? Yeah. So hopefully you guys had a great week, a great start to the morning too, because I woke up and I got myself going, and like I said, I get up very early. So I got up, and was probing around, and, you know, began to realize just how wonderful and amazing this life can be if we allow ourselves to remain on that frequency of joy and gratitude. Yeah, yeah, it really is. It really is. Now, also encouraging you guys that, if you meditate at all, or if you could just sit quietly in peace and trust and certainty, because so much is happening all around us, that it's very important that we remain peaceful within. None of these things move me, Paul says. He says, none of these things move me. And if you can allow yourself not to be moved, by to remain faithful and not allow your emotions to get caught up in the whirls of everything that's happening, then you can remain faithful in God. That's just my take. Yeah, yeah. So let's choose to meditate on God's love, and let's allow it to invade you so that you can be elevated to a better timeline, where you can be on that frequency where everything is going your way. And speaking of everything that's going your way, it is time. It is time. It is time for the Friday song. Yes, it is. You guys know it's fun, fantastic, funky Friday. You guys ready? A one, a two, a one, two, three. It's Friday. It's Friday. It's Friday. It's Friday. Yay! Things are going my way. Things are going my way. Things are going my way. Things are going your way. Things are going your way. Things are going your way. And today is the day. And today is the day. That's right. It is fun, fantastic, funky Friday. I am Vanessa Klinger. Welcome again to the Right Along with Vanessa Morning Show, where we provide you 100% free coaching at your service. Raw real enlightenment at its best. So come on in and enjoy the ride as we take you higher into the dimensions of God. Yes, 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 and yes. That's right, baby. It is fun, fantastic, funky Friday, Right Along with Vanessa Morning Show. And we are wrapping up the David series today with a very important topic of discussion. And I wanted to close it out with this because it kind of ties everything up in a nice little bow, a bow of truth and clarity and hopefully some insight so that you all can understand, come into an agreement and understanding of, things that happen. The consequences of your choices, the consequences of your deliberate decisions, your premeditated thoughts to carry out something that is against the will of God. That's what we're going to be talking about today. So before we get to it, we are going to, it's time for our spiritual PSA. And I'm going to get it right this time, guys. I'm going to get it right. Going to get it right. I'm going to get it right. Now, while this is uh, scrolling through, I've been watching a lot of Tina Turner videos. Hey Tina, and all I can say is just from watching and listening to some of her interviews that if we could just really aspire to be half as that because of her approach and her philosophy and her way of thinking. She battled a lot. She conquered so much for herself to get into this space and place of acceptance and this frequency. And what she did was she meditated. And I encourage each and every one of you to do it. Find what works for you. Find what works for you. That's why they have such an array of a variety of things. Because it's not just some cookie cutter version, right? What Find what works for you. And if the foundation comes from love, unconditional love, then I wouldn't second guess it if I were you. I would not second guess it. God is love. That's right. So I just wanted to say that. Okay. So our spiritual PSA, and I found this and I fell in love with it, and I thought I'd just share it on each episode just to give you some encouragement, to let you know that you are not alone. You're not. There's so much support all around you. If only you knew. Yes, yes. Matthew 11:28-30. You ready? Here we go. I'm going to be reading it along with you. Are you tired, worn out, burned down on religion? Come to me. Get away with me, and you will recover your life. Mm. I'll show you how to take a real rest. Won't he do it? Walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me, and you'll learn to live freely and lightly. Keep company with me, and you'll learn to live freely and lightly. The more and more you choose to keep company with spirit and to stay just completely just in the presence. And what do you mean by the presence? Because it's everywhere. Well, it's all about a decision, right? It's all about allowing yourself to allow spirit's presence to be made known, right? By acknowledging it. When you do that, you'll have a peace that passeth all understanding. No one can figure out, I don't understand it. I've got all this peace. I've just been given that, this serious blow, this unexpected blow, is unexpected delivery of information. Didn't see it coming. How do you handle it when you don't see things coming? How do you process that? How do you handle it? How do you respond to it? How do you react to it? How do you do anything with it? Do you panic, freak out, give up and quit? Or do you immediately get into action? It's up to you. But when you are in the presence of spirit, when you keep company with spirit, you'll learn to live freely and lightly. You'll learn to rest in the presence of peace, and knowing that everything is going to be all right, and knowing that all things are working together for the good. And you'll begin to see how it's all happening for your betterment. Then that will also help you to increase your ability of trust, that you can trust God in spite of everything. Trust Him. Trust God. Trust the God in you. Believe in the God in you. One moment, please. Good day, Spirit. Good day, Cozy. Good day, Reverend Knight. Good day, Catherine Kuhlman. Good day, Dr. Wayne. Good day, Stuart Wild. Good day, Cousin Lewis. Good day, Uncle Glenn. Good day, Tina. Thank you. All right. Then you begin to trust God. Totally, wholeheartedly. You'll be able to trust the God in you, knowing that you've got what it takes. You've got what it takes. You have what it takes. You were built for this. You were made for this. And no one can take that away from you. Only you can prevent that from happening. So keep company with spirit, and you'll learn how to live freely and lightly. That's the spiritual PSA for today. Yes, yes. So today's lecture is the elephant in the room. It's the David series, and it's the finale. And we're going to tie this all up. Now, you guys know the story, but he had so many. I mean, it's just, his story was very, it was great because it showed the progression of someone who came from nothing, and God, how God elevated them because God chose them, because there was something that he did while he was on the backside of the desert that moved God. What was that? Because it says that he was a man after God's own heart. So that means he got into that sweet spot. The sweet spot where you hit this point that changes the trajectory of your life. You're just going along through life, and you're doing what you're supposed to do. You're following the rules, and you're choosing to live in love and peace and joy and gratitude. And he was just doing what he was doing. He didn't think that nothing good would ever happen. He was the youngest, so he knew, oh, my brother get all the benefits and I'll get the leftovers. I'm okay with that. I'll hang out here with the sheep. I'll just write poems and songs to God and express gratitude to my existence. He was just out there, not expecting anything. But lo and behold, baby, if you remain faithful in you, in being you, if you remain faithful in that, and you choose to seek the love of God, whatever it is, David found joy in music and singing. There's something about that, because that's vibration. That represents vibration. So if you can find something vibrationally where you can strike a chord in the heart of God. You get on that frequency, and it can't do anything. It has to elevate you. It has to promote you. It has to call you out from the backside to the forefront. It has to do that. Why? Because of the frequency that you are on, because of the vibration that you're sending out. You strike a chord, you hit that frequency, and boom, it changes the entire trajectory of your life. That happened for David. And then he had to go through something, you know. You have to go through that because we exist in this type of world. And, the Bible is a great book that provides you instructions before leaving earth, because this ain't our home. So in order to master, rule, and reign, you're going to have to go through something. You're going to have to conquer some giants. You have to deal with the haters, all this kind of stuff. You got to deal with, and the haters represent resistance. You're going to have to deal with resistance, right? Because it's going to build up and strengthen you to prepare you for your next. Everything, it's all cyclical, right? You go through phases. You go through scenarios, situations, circumstances, scenes, different scenes in your life. You're going to go through those. And each scene in your life prepares you for your next one. And somehow it connects, and it makes a wonderful story called your life. So David is having these experiences. It didn't come easy. And he had to deal with that, but he remained faithful to God. But then, you know, I'm sure. I mean, it tells a story, and if you watch it, a number of people have similar experiences where they get all this whatever, and they get caught up in the hype. Thank you, Spirit, for reminding me. I remember one of the million jobs I've had. And honey, these ladies who were sitting there, and this was years ago, and they were somehow they got talking about Oprah, and this was when she launched her own network. That lets you know how long ago it was. And they were talking about how arrogant she appeared when she was walking through. Yep, I got my own network. I say that too. I got my own network. And I said to them, I said, well, I would love to see how y'all would behave if y'all had all that money. Because I don't know what I would do if I had it. I'd probably be acting a show enough fool. That's what I said to try to make light of it. Because I was like, keep Oprah's name out your mouth. You don't know what she had to experience to get to where she was. Same with David, right? You're going to have to deal with the haters, man. The resistance. You don't know how you would behave when you are suddenly you're elevated and you have access to all this material stuff. You don't know how you behave. This is why it's so important that while you're on the backside of the desert, you work out all that stuff. You deal with your karmic stuff. You deal with your spiritual stuff to where you get to where and become detached, where none of this stuff moves you, where it doesn't matter. So that when you get into that space, you can rule and reign and operate from a space called God. Hindsight, And I think that that's why all these stories are in here, is for us to learn from and grow, so that when we get to those spaces and places of elevation and abundance and material, all this stuff, that we can use this as a point of reference to understand how not to be. The Bible is a book of philosophy on what to do, what not to do, and how to be. So, my dear hearts, let's learn from David. And as we wrap up this final episode on the David series, my intention is that you are enlightened by it and you learn and grow from it. So, before we tune into the episode, scripture highlight, Where is it? Yep, 13, 12 through 14. Let me see if I have it here. I do. It says, "No, brother, don't hurt me. This kind of thing isn't done in Israel. Don't do this terrible thing. Where could I ever show my face? And you'll be out in the street in disgrace. Oh, please, speak to the king. He'll let you marry me." But he wouldn't listen. Being much stronger than she, he raped her. The elephant in the room. Samuel 13, chapter 13. 2 Samuel chapter 13. Go and grab yourself a refreshing beverage, and when we come back, we're going to open up our lecture and talk about the elephant in the room. So stay tuned. Would you like to become a guest on Spiritually Speaking and Awakening? Well, we would love to have you. Join in on the discussions, share your story, promote your product, service, and or upcoming event. Go to www.stayinlovetv.com, leave your details, and we'll contact you.
Get ready for your now awakening. Today's Michelleology returns, Memorial Day, only on Stay in Love TV. Get your copy of Mental Equation, available on Amazon and on Stay in Love TV. Today's Michelleology.
7.
Hello, everyone. Join me and the great Michelle Massey Washington for another exciting episode of Spiritually Speaking and Awakening with our very special guest, renowned transformation speaker, Queenie Brown. Queenie has dedicated her life to helping mothers heal and transform their relationships with their daughters. In her segment, Healing the Mother-Daughter Connection, she'll be focusing on the complex and challenging relationships between mothers and daughters. So join us Sunday, June 11th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Stay in Love TV.
That's right. That's right. Sunday, we have our very special guest, Queenie Brown. And I'm really looking forward to having her on the show because she wrote a book on how to heal mother-daughter relationships. So if you have had, that's a screen there. So if you have had those challenges, I know I had. Mother and I are in a very good space and place right now, and I love it. But over the years we did. So I'm looking forward to hearing her wonderful wisdom on healing the mother-daughter relationship. So you're not going to want to miss it. Spiritually Speaking and Awakening with me and the great Michelle Massey Washington and our very special guest, Queenie Brown, 7 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Eastern, on Stay in Love TV and all of the social media platforms. So join us, won't you? All right. But today, we're going to be talking, our lecture is going to be on the elephant in the room. Yeah, the elephant in the room. The David series. Okay. So there's a lot of scriptures, and I'm referencing 2 Samuel chapter 13. There's a lot of scriptures, and I encourage you to read the story. This time, after listening to the show, you have a different perspective on it. So I encourage you to read this. I'm just going to summarize it and share with you all my insight on it. Okay, so how did we get here? How did we get here to where his brother, David's son, his oldest son, was lusting after his sister? He was sick. He said he was heart sick. He even consulted his cousin, Jonadab, or whatever that is. Jonadab. It says he was exceptionally streetwise. You know. So Amnon was sitting there telling, I mean, We don't know what that was like back in them days, but you know, the gist of it was that he was lusting after his own sister to the point where he was sick about it and he wanted to do something about it. So he consulted with his streetwise cousin. How can I do this? How can I get her alone? So Jonabab said, well, you can pretend to be sick and ask your dad to, you know. I mean, if you really look at it, I mean, think about it now. So I'm assuming that that wasn't allowed for that very reason. So anyway, Jonadab, I call him JD. JD consulted with Amnon and said, "Yeah, why don't you pretend you're sick and tell your dad you want Tamar to come and you know and feed you, and you'll feel better." So that's what did. David sent for Tamar and came and made supper for him and he watched her and he asked for her to feed him because he just couldn't lift his head. He just wasn't feeling good and he just wanted, you know. So he tricked her into coming into his bedroom. And she pleaded with him, don't do it. But he just couldn't do it. His passions just overruled him. And he raped her. But you know, that's humiliating as it is. But then he got mad about it. I wonder why. Probably guilty as hell. I'm sure. And he's had he didn't even throw her out. He had somebody else throw her out. Get rid of this woman. His own sister. So now he done released and you know, he treated her like crap. You know, and I'm trying not to get myself caught up in it because I'm a victim of this too myself and all. So I'm trying to, you know, be objective about it. But you know, I think about all the men that I slept with, you know, when I was able. And willing. Um, and a lot of them made me feel like that too. You know, they didn't rape me per se, but afterwards I felt like crap. And they made me feel that way. Yet we still kept coming back, didn't we, Vanessa? Still kept believing that maybe, just maybe. No. But then he got angry about it and threw her out. Told her to get out. She says, this is worse than what you did. He said, don't throw me out. You know, let's go to my father. Maybe he'll let us something. Maybe God, maybe Father will fix it. He knows how you feel about me. I'm the one having that. So she was humiliated, of course, ripping her clothes, throwing ashes on her head, and all that. And Absalom, right? We talked about Absalom. He said, has your brother Amnon had his way with you? Verse 20. Now, my dear sister, let's keep it quiet. It's a family matter. He is, after all, your brother. Don't take this so hard. So Tamar lived with Absalom, bitter and desolate. She felt disgraceful. She could not pick back up her life. She was riddled with shame. And Absalom had to watch her every day in her sadness, in her grief, in her shame. He had to watch her. His dear beloved sister, he had to watch her. And he had to watch Amnon. So can you imagine the anger? Because they told David now. He told David about it. And David did nothing. So Absalom grew angrier and angrier. So he had some time to think about it. So 2 years. went by too. And he told him, he said, look, he said, Dad, why don't we come out and have a feast at my house? We'll have everybody over, have the brothers over. David said, no, I can't do it right now. So he didn't give him his blessing. He said, well, if you won't come, at least let my brother Amnon come. And why? Why should he go with you? But Absalom was insistent. Let Amnon and all the rest of the king's sons go. So he prepared a buffet fit for a king. He instructed his servants, look sharp now. When Amnon is well into the sauce and feeling no pain, he get them drunk. You see, y'all need to watch Drinking with the Alcohol. Because when, they say it lowers your inhibitions, it does. It lowers your inhibitions. But your judgment is the first thing to go when you get under the influence. So he said, and I give the order, strike Amnon, kill him, and don't be afraid. I'm the one giving the command. Courage, you can do it. So he hired hitmen to take Amnon out while he was enjoying and feasting and getting drunk. So he told him, he said, take him out. Take him out. Kill him. So they did it. And I could think about that. I'm like, I'm glad that I'm not faced with certain things that require me to make these hard decisions like this. Because I don't know what I would have done. I was at the shop yesterday, and I was at the shop yesterday, and she asked me, she said, you have any children? I'm like, no, I don't have any children. I said, because if I did, I'd be in prison right now. I would be in prison, because I just would. Because if somebody does something to my children or whatever, I would they would have died a horrible death. And I'm grateful that I don't have any children, because I didn't want to be faced with those hard decisions. Because, Absalom he stood by and he watched his father just not do anything about the injustice and the humiliation that his dear beloved sister. He respected and valued women, in my opinion, better than David did, which is why he believed that they all believed that they felt that they would make a better king. David had grew soft. He grew soft. He was compassionate, and he was a loving person, and he loved God, but he grew soft when it came to come to make those hard decisions. Could it be that the reason why he did that or behaved that way was because of what he did to get his wife, Bathsheba? He had a man killed. So there he was walking around with all this guilt. He hadn't forgiven himself to the point where he could assume it, get back into his authoritative space, right? So there he was doing that. And Absalom just said, you know what, I'm going to take matters in my own hands. And he killed his own brother. And I'm like, man, I probably do the same thing. So Absalom had his trials. He took a risk. He thought that he would be able to take the kingdom and overthrow his father and all that. But he died too. All because of one decision that David made. David made the decision to kill a man because he lusted. You see the connection? The lust birthed an even more defiled type of lust. He lusted. The same thing. He lusted after woman. So he created that experience. The sins of the father is carried down to the children. I think that's what that means, guys. So the things that you do will impact your children. The things that you do will impact the rest of your life. The things that you choose to give birth to. Thank you, Spirit, for that revelation. Okay, so it doesn't matter whether it's children or giving birth to something material, right? It's those decisions that you make. So when you give birth to, let's say, a business or whatever, what did you do during those times when you didn't think no one was watching, right? how did you carry out certain things, certain decisions that you made when no one was watching, right? So, because what it's going to do, it's going to bleed into your future. So, what David did, David, lusted after Bathsheba, put her poor husband on the front lines, had him killed, and all that kind of stuff. He didn't think nobody was watching, but the prophet came and told him, "Look, man, God saw it. You didn't think nobody was watching you." And the prophet represents your mind. So eventually your mind go bring you some knowledge and revelation and make you see yourself. It's called your conscience, your prophet. So, David began to get into, he repented and all that, but then he still had the consequences of his actions. They gave birth to a baby. The baby died. David was fasting 7 days on his face for 7, 8 days, whatever. And he finally got back up, and then, he got better. And, he and Bathsheba put that behind him and gave birth to Solomon. But all the while, that sin was running rampant through the castle. And it landed on Amnon and Absalom. But it landed on Amnon. And he began to lust after his sister to a point where he just conspired and raped her. The conclusion of what I'm getting to about this entire series, guys, is your consequences, your choices have consequences. And few takeaways. Number one, while you're on the backside of the desert in preparation, allow whatever work that needs to be done within you to be done. Do not speed up the process. Go with it and allow it to do what it needs to do. 2, heavy is the head that wears the crown. Remain humble. Remain in tune with spirit. And always remember, God is watching. Always ask yourself, what would you do if no one was watching? Would you behave this way? What would you do if someone was watching? Would you behave this way? Is there a difference? Because of this, the actions and the decisions you make will bleed into your future and bleed into those things that you give birth to. I often wonder that if David had not sent for Bathsheba and carried out this unjustly act, would all of that had, happened? Probably not. I mean, but it makes a good story, don't it? It makes a good story for us to understand and learn about ourselves. I'm telling you now, that sexual misconduct bled all the way through his children, and it stopped at Solomon. Why did it stop at Solomon? Because Solomon, although he was considered the bastard, he married Bathsheba and he was a baby, but he had a chance to, he had a front seat view watching everything. So he took it in and he learned from it. He watched his father. So when it came time when David passed on and gave Solomon the crown, that's a whole nother story about how he got that. But he rightly received the crown because David looked at his other sons and saw that and was like, But anyway, that God woke Solomon up and asked him, "What do you want?" Wouldn't you love to have God wake you up and ask you, what would you like to experience, Solomon? What do you desire? Solomon said, I want wisdom. I don't know how to rule these people. I've seen my dad do it, but he didn't do a good job of it. He almost lost it a couple of times. So I want to do it right. So I want wisdom. God said, granted, because you've asked for wisdom, I'm going to give you riches beyond compare. So, desire wisdom. Desire to want to just get it, figure it out. Help me master me, God. I don't want to, help me master me. Help me get me right. Because I've seen the effects of having wealth and money. And it doesn't matter whether you have money or this and that, whatever. I don't like what I'm looking at. So I want to make sure that when I see myself in the mirror, I'm okay with looking at me. All that other stuff don't, that's fine. But the most important thing I desire is I want to figure Vanessa out. I want to get me right so that I can, so that I operate and be pleasing in your sight, God. All this other stuff don't matter, because if I do not please you by by get an understanding. That's the wisdom thing. So as we wrap up for today, guys, I'm having issues here. As we wrap up for today, always remember that the decisions that you make really have consequences, and they will give birth to things that you don't desire to experience. So join me next week, right along with Vanessa Morning Show, but also join us on Sunday for the Spiritually Speaking and Awakening with our very special guest, Queenie Brown.